Today I rise in defense of the people of the state of Michigan when I urge my colleagues to oppose House Bill 4215. I want to do a short recap. Over a month ago, there was a young man left his keys in his vehicle, and it ran for a few minutes over normal. After the police officer circled the house a couple of times, because the vehicle was unattended and the door wasn't locked, he and the person got into a verbal, I don't want to say altercation, but they had some words. And like anything, there's two sides to every story, and the truth usually lies down the middle. But after this young man got this ticket, he went on social media, Facebook, it was on Good Morning America, and the CBS Morning Show. So I would like to, first of all, you might be wondering why I'm the reasoning for my claim that this is in defense of the whole state of Michigan. While I am by not any stretch of the imagination a Clarence Darrow, a Johnny Cochran, the notorious Ruth Bader Ginsburg, or TV's attorney Perry Mason, or F. Lee Bailey of attorney fame, but rather I'm just a aw shucks retired deputy sworn a couple of times to do what I can do to keep Michigan safe and protect someone from committing a tragic mistake. In a normal case, the prosecution explains in closing arguments one always gets two bites of the apple to prove guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. But since I'm on the defense, I only get one bite of the apple to defend the safety of the people of the state of Michigan. So today I will do my best. This particular rule of the Uniform Traffic Code this bill attempts to strike is a vital and necessary tool that in many communities they use it as an arsenal to combat auto thefts in their neighborhoods. While current law does not require local communities to comply with this rule, it does allow them to adopt such rule in a vehicle code policy if they decide to use this tool and help keeping their community safe. The impetus for this bill stems from that incident I talked about earlier in my district and the city that I live in. The bill sponsor never talked to me about the city ordinance before this bill was introduced. If they would have, I would have gladly explained the necessity of this ordinance in the city of Roseville. In Roseville, our city council passed an ordinance adopting the state motor vehicle code as it pertains to prohibiting a person from leaving their car running unattended in a driveway. In one particularly bad case, and this happened in the city of Roseville, a housewife went inside the house because she forgot her purse. She left her car running with her two minor children inside. Within seconds, somebody jumped into that car and stole it. She tried to stop the car from leaving her driveway and was ran over by the car thief. The car, less than a minute later, realizing this, the thief ran or bailed out of the car with the car running, and it hit a telephone pole and some bushes. Luckily, the children weren't hurt. But this is the kind of stuff that the Roseville ordinance and state law is designed to end. As a community, we decided that this ordinance was in our city's best interest to combat this issue of auto thefts. Other cities and townships may disagree, and that's their right to do so. After all, the point of local control, HB 4215 takes that away from a city council, a township, or a county commissioner. And I grant it, in more rural communities where houses are more spread apart and driveways are longer, leaving the car running unattended may not be a problem. But in a more densely population inner ring suburb like Roseville, this is a danger. A vehicle can become a 4,000-pound assault weapon. We lock our guns up, so why not our cars? If you think about it, there is a population in the Tri-County Metro Detroit area of roughly 3.5 million people, with their houses in many places only 10 yards apart. These are good and easy pickings for a car thief, unlike up north where most of the houses are a half a mile apart. Just 2 weeks ago, the 39th District Court judge heard the testimony from the police officer and the violator, and guess what? I'll share with everybody, he was found guilty, and he was found guilty by the most conservative judge Roseville has. This problem is not limited to Roseville. Just after this bill was discussed in committee, a mother in Burton or Grand Blanc walked into a gas station to get some cigarettes, left her car running at a gas station with her children, once again, minor children inside. Less than a minute later, a car thief hopped into a running vehicle. An Amber Alert was issued, and like many of you in this chamber, I got one on my phone. Luckily for everybody involved, the children were found safe and sound. As a retired Wayne County deputy, I believe we need to do all we can do to prevent crime. With the design of new cars, it's a lot more difficult to have car thieves get into them. Criminals, therefore, have adopted other methods, and that's going into neighborhoods looking for cars that are running unattended, and carjackings are up in the metro area. The City of Roseville ordinance is an attempt to stay current with the trends of auto theft. Let me put this in bigger perspective. In 2014, according to the National Insurance Crime Bureau, from the years 2012 to 14, Michigan ranked number 4 in the entire nation in car thefts that occurred with keys left in the ignition, occurring in southeastern Michigan. And once again, we're talking about Macomb, Oakland, and Wayne counties. In 2016, the report just came out. We rank number 6 now. And we have, on a Monday, we have 2,317 cars stolen in the state of Michigan, and the number 1 car is a Chevy Impala 2008, if anybody has one of them. There is an organization in the state of Michigan called HEAT. It's called Help Eliminate Auto Thefts. It is a privately funded organization, mostly from funds provided by insurance companies, including we pay $1 a policy for this insurance. Can you imagine everybody in this chamber, everybody outside, all the residents of Michigan pay $1? And I just found out because there was a senator that has a bill we're going to vote on this week. So this funds many efforts of our law enforcement partners throughout the state of Michigan to combat auto theft. Can you imagine funding our police departments, cities, townships, counties' efforts, only to go backwards to make it easier to steal automobiles when we're paying this money? Sometimes, folks, I feel like I'm in the twilight zone. This bill is in search of a problem to solve. Usually a verbal warning is given to people for this, but whatever the reason between the officer and that individual that ran his car improperly, I don't know, but his recourse was to go to court. And unfortunately, in this case, for him, the judge found him guilty and fined him $128. If any community is opposed to this ordinance, all they have to do is petition their city council, village, township, and they have a town hall, and they can get community feedback and change it. But rather, we have another example of state government knowing what is best for our local communities on how best to address their public safety issues by reacting to something on the social media. And I'm not saying I have the most esteem and good working relationship with the maker of this bill. So for these reasons, though, I urge my House colleagues to oppose this bill that would remove the critical element that police departments can use to prevent auto thefts and leave the law as it currently is. We have safety of the people versus property rights. People elected you in your districts to do that. But hopefully you'll let local control prevail. And thank you, Mr. Speaker, and my colleagues.